Hello, my fellow Ripplers. This is Chris Miles, your cash flow expert and anti-financial advisor. Welcome to our show that's for you and about you, those who work so hard for your money, and you want your money to start working harder for you right now. You want that freedom, cash flow, and prosperity today, not 30 or 40 years from now, but right now, to live that life that you love, doing what you love with those that you love. But most importantly, guys, it's not just about getting rich, it's about living a rich life, because as you're blessed financially, you can be a blessing in the lives of others. And that's the ripple effect I'm here to create with you guys, so you can create your own ripple effect. So again, thank you for binging, tuning in, sharing, to all the things you guys have done. I know some of you guys have gone so far down the rabbit hole that I don't know how many hundreds of episodes you've already listened to, but either way, we're glad you're here and glad you're joining us today. As a quick reminder, be sure to check out our YouTube channel and subscribe there for the Money Ripples with Chris Miles page. Go there, subscribe. We got bonus videos that we throw up on there as well, giving you additional bonus content. So be sure to check that out.
Chris Miles was able to retire twice by the time he was 39 years old, but he's not content to just enjoy his own financial freedom and peace of mind. Chris wants you to have your own ripple effect so you can live free today. He's not the financial advisor you expected. He's the anti-financial advisor you deserve. He's jumping behind the mic right now, ready to make waves. Here's Chris Miles.
All right, guys. So I've got two special guests for you guys, not just one, but two, right? And two is always better than one. We got we got the trio right here. If you include me in this little trio, I'm the weird leg that's trying to support these other two big legs right here. And I'm not just talking physically because these guys are taller than me, but I mean, seriously, like these guys are amazing, brilliant guys that are not just doctors of chiropractic, right? But these guys are amazing with practice and business management. And so I know some of you are listening to this because you are chiropractors looking like, how do I escape out of this rat race? How do I get out of this profession where I'm not just, stuck touching people's bodies all day? I know that sounds a little weird saying that, but you don't want to be just stuck being the one that's always focused on adjusting people and doing that sort of thing, being in the practice. You'd rather work on the practice than inside of it. But at the same time, how can you get it to be $1 million plus practice without you being the one that's there every day? And that's exactly what these guys are coming to tell you. So even if you're not a chiropractor, right? Even if it doesn't matter if you're a dentist, doctor, it doesn't matter if you even work in IT, like many of you do that follow me, this can apply to anyone, especially if you're looking to how to leverage your time, be able to get greater bang for your buck with the time that you're using. And so I love the perspective these guys are coming from and what they've created here. It's a cool little model. So guys, welcome. We got Matt and we've got Rob. Welcome, guys.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate the opportunity.
You bet. So I know obviously you guys are both in chiropractic, and just hear a little bit from each of you, like share a little bit about your background, what led you to this point today.
Well, yeah, I guess I'll start first because I've been at this a little longer than Dr. Matt even, but I, started to practice and kind of all, of my mentors, taught us that, you just go out there and serve people and do a good job and everybody will tell people about you. And eventually in 20 years, you'll have a halfway successful, semi-stable practice.
Halfway. That's great. Semi-stable. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. And so really the model in chiropractic was, you just had to feel like individually, how many bodies you could touch and physically adjust in a week was kind of where your income was tapped. I had much bigger goals of that, personally and financially, and even professionally when I got into chiropractic. And I realized pretty quickly that I was maxing out about 230, 240 patient visits per week before I just physically was done, finished.
Yeah.
There's only so many hours in a week, in a day, and so many days in a week. And I don't think any of us can work all of them. So we came up with this idea of serving people in niches. Chiropractors typically, if you've seen their ads, Chris, they list every condition in the entire human experience and claim to be able to treat them all. Well, people aren't willing to pay for the generalist. People want a specialist. And so by focusing very narrowly on a couple of areas, people saw us as specialists, are willing to pay us a lot more. And because we're able to focus and take more time with them instead of moving them through, like, chiropractors you hear sometimes have that reputation almost being like a conveyor belt, because that's the model that most of us learned. You aren't able to take the time and focus and maybe dig as deep and get the results ultimately for that individual that you maybe would like to. And so we've been able to turn that on its ear by focusing specifically clinic masters. We teach mainly treating the knee and peripheral neuropathy, and adding these to a current doctor's practice. So they find that they're actually able to, triple or quadruple their income, see fewer patients, work less days. And I don't know anything about anything I just said that doesn't sound super appealing to a business owner or a healthcare practitioner in general. So that's kind of my side of the story. I know we got a short time. I'll let Matt tell a little bit of his and piggyback on what I just said.
Yeah, Chris. So Dr. Rob and I have known each other about 12 years, and we were both in a group that, as chiropractors, we're basically educated entrepreneurs. We learn how to help people. However, we don't learn a lot about the business side. And unfortunately, the reality is, like many of your listeners, we're in the business of healing. Without the business, there's zero healing that takes place. So
that's right.
Rob and I both have a heart. I love the business side of what we do. I love giving people their lives back. And quite frankly, we charge, they're getting a deal for what we charge compared to what the medical profession charges them. And like Rob will attest, by the time people come to us, we're 5, 6, 7, 8th doctor down the totem pole, and they're still without hope and they're losing their quality of life. So, but yeah, just through one way and another, Dr. Rob and I have been friends. In any group we've ever been in, we've risen to the top within a year or two. And we're not beating our chest, because Dr. Rob and I are both humble men. We both love the Lord. And, but it got to a point where people were asking us, hey, Dr. Matt, Dr. Rob, what are you guys doing? Because they were hearing our success, and success, as leaves clues. So, Rob and I just finally decided, we sat around a campfire and we just hashed this thing out. And, our goal is to take 1,000 doctors to over $1 million collections in a year, which some of you dentists, if you're on, probably mocking, but, chiropractic, we have a very big poverty complex. And less than 1% of chiropractors ever cracked that. And Dr. Rob figured that out. He had looked at, did some research. So that's our goal, is to get people to that 6 figures a month, 7 figures a year collections. And again, money isn't everything, but again, like Kanye West says, not having it is. So our goal is to help people, and money's a byproduct of providing value in this world. So that's what Rob and I's heart is to do.
That's right. I love it. That's the thing. I think a lot of people here that are listening or watching this video here are realizing, they're like, yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I'm here to serve. Like, I want to make good money, but I want to make it because I'm serving and actually blessing people's lives versus just, trying to screw people over, for lack of a better word. Right. But it's true. Like, and just from a personal note, from my standpoint too, I'm a huge fan of chiropractic. I started coaching a bunch of chiropractors with my previous company, actually where I met Rob. In fact, that's when we first met. Was that 2000? Probably 2010.
That was where I figured out the dentist made a lot more than most chiropractors.
That's just said, like, man, might be in the wrong profession, right?
Yeah,
it's true. I mean, we had that history back with Garrett Gunderson and Freedom Fast Track back in the day, and I remember I coached over 300 chiropractors while over there, and even over here in Money Ripples too. And the one thing I'll tell you is that, one, I'm a huge personal fan of chiropractic, because that's the one thing that's got me to race faster when I do my marathons, right? That between that and massage work, it's like the huge 1-2 combo that you use just to recover and perform, not just live and function on a daily basis in your organs and everything else, but just the fact I can perform better is because of you guys. But on another note too, is just having coached so many as well, is that, I mean, even just hitting 100,000 a year sometimes is tough for chiropractors, right? Let alone getting over 1 million, which is just like a rock star in the chiropractic world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think 100,000. I think that's the average gross in our profession.
Yeah, exactly. Again, big hearts, but not always the big wallet to go with it, right? The big bank account to go with it. And you guys are solving that problem right now.
That's one of our goals, to help try to elevate the image of the entire profession. One of our mission statement is to help 1,000 chiropractors in the next 3 years collect over $1 million a year. As Dr. Matt said, we did a review of the IRS filings, over 55,000 IRS filings had some part of their business or their tax return that included revenue from a chiropractic business, and only 634 of those reported revenue of over $1 million a year. That's less than 0.5%
Wow.
of the chiropractic profession, actually. And we'd rather people see the guy's house or see the guy driving around town and like, I wonder what that guy does for a living, Mom. I want to, oh, he's a chiropractor, son. I want to be a chiropractor when I grow up.
That's true, because that hasn't really been the case. Like it's usually been like the doctors and dentists and lawyers, right? That people say, all right, I'll do that because where the money is. But it's true. There's this whole almost hidden gem within your practice, within your profession that's there.
Well, it's a shame, I think, for what we're able to do for people and their health, and like you've experienced, Chris, and for changing people's lives. I mean, honestly, I don't know that filling my cavity has changed my life, but what we do literally does help people get their lives back. And I just think I love what dentists do, and I'm glad they're there, and other healthcare practitioners. I just think as chiropractors, we're severely underpaid for the benefit that we provide to humanity, and we'd like to see that change.
Amen.
Yeah, we're essentially the unsung hero, because like when we talk about knee pain and neuropathy, Chris, peripheral neuropathy is a devastating disease. It took Dr. Rob's grandpa's leg, his left leg. It took my uncle Steve's feet. Peripheral neuropathy, the underlying issue is these people, and a lot of them are diabetic or they have chronic disease, or there's over 100 causes, but they're severe ischemic. They're not getting any blood flow. And it always starts in the feet because it's the furthest from the heart. Their feet are literally dying. Okay. So, I always joke, as ugly as my feet are, I'm going to keep them for my life. And, when we charge someone, $5 to $10 grand to not only stop their neuropathy, but reverse the damage that's taken place. I mean, quite frankly, that's again, we're getting the short end of the deal,
Yeah.
But and then same with knee pain. I mean, Rob will tell you too, we've had patients have multiple knee surgeries. They've got infection. They've been on IV antibiotics. And Dr. Rob and I, the protocol that we have created, we literally look the patient in the eye and say, Mary, if we can't help you today, or 100% of the people we can help will feel an immediate difference today. It's not they're healed, but it's a minimum 20% relief. If we get that, we'll change your life. If we don't, we're going to shake hands.
Yeah.
So the stuff Dr. Rob and I teach, it's sizzle, but it's steak. And our goal is to make sure every doctor under us, creates a life by default, not by design, not by default, like most people live their lives.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, I mean, for those of us that aren't, don't have a medical background, right? I dropped out of college with one class to go before my bachelor's in sociology. For those of us, I mean, what exactly is this modality? Like, what is it addressing?
In regards to the knee pain or to the neuropathy?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, what is this? Like, what is the neuropathy about?
Yeah. So everything in your body needs three things to be healthy: blood, oxygen, nerve supply. Blood carries nutrients, oxygen. Life is found in the blood, as they say in the Bible. So here's the thing is, there's usually something wrong with every one of those categories. So there's an exam that Dr. Rob and I have created that helps determine and discern exactly which of those three is missing and what percentage. And we use the latest technology. We use things that create vasodilation. So they basically help stimulate blood flow. We use a device that's the same frequency as your nerves are in your brain. There's a doctor we work with patented the signal your brain runs on. So we're all about using technology. And that's the thing with many chiropractors, and unfortunately dentistry and all them, or fortunately they don't deal with this, but chiropractic started in 1895. Every doctor out there, chiro, wants to have a 2021 cell phone, 2021 car, 2021 clothing, but yet they don't want to ever grow past 1895 in their treatment. And some of the straights out there are probably turning in their grave, but it's the reality. If there's a modality that Dr. Rob and I are aware of that will help improve someone's life, that will provide value for them, and then also create income for the clinic, it would not be a good idea not to use that. So Dr. Rob and I love technology and growing.
I love that. Well, let me ask you this, like, what have you noticed beyond just this using neuropathy, right? Like, because obviously that's a great thing you can add that's specialized in the practice. What have you noticed in general for practice owners? What is like big hang up they have in business? Like what do you think prevents them from success beyond just trying to do a technique, right? Because there's so many modalities they've tried to use and depending on what they've been trained in, but I've noticed it goes way beyond just the modality, isn't it? There's something else going on up here. What is it you guys run into?
I think one of the big things I see is the difficulty in really just understanding basic business concepts, like the difference between investing in their practice and an expense. They constantly use the wrong terminology for the activity that they're describing. Something is not an expense if you spend $3,000 and it generates an extra $30,000 in revenue.
Right.
And just using that terminology, I think in their head, prevents them from spending that money. Because of course you gotta, it's like your children. You gotta send them out in the world before they come back, as fully formed humans that have careers and wives or children of their own or whatever. If they just stay locked in your basement, same with dollars. You have to send them out into the world for them to return and bring their friends with them. If you just keep them locked away, I mean, it goes back almost to the parable of the talents in the Bible. The guy that just buried it in his basement wasn't blessed, but the people that put it to work and so it could do more work were blessed with even more abundance. And I think that's a tough thing for them to get over there. They're so used to operating on such thin margins of profit that to any incremental expense cuts into that already razor thin margin of profit. So it's hard for them to make those leaps. When we have a doctor, we're just talking to, his life goal was to collect $40,000 a month. And after coming to our first boot camp in December last year, he was reporting in January he did 146,000 in collections. And so I had this long discussion with him about what that's going to allow you to do is hire a whole different category of human to help you in your office and leverage your time. That's going to make your life so much easier, and you're going to pay them 50% more, 100% more, but the value they're going to create is going to be so much greater than the increase of what you're paying them. And I know you can't quite see that or understand that yet at this point, but you will. Take my word and just do it. So that's another thing I think is getting doctors to just recognize. Thankfully, you've got 2 doctors here that have run $1 million clinics. And so there's a good percentage of doctors that's enough, that like, hey, you guys are doing that. I'm just going to follow your blueprint. That's the quickest way to success. But there's still those doctors that in spite of that, I think they just kind of get in their own way sometimes.
I agree. Well, this is awesome, guys. Like if someone wanted to follow what you guys are doing or learn more about how you do what you do, right? Where would be the best place for them to go and do that?
I would think they could research us on, they could go to theclinicmasters.com or clinic-masters.com, or they could call our experience coordinator or onboarding specialist, Susan. I know you're well familiar with Susan as well, Chris, from us having worked together in the past. Is it okay if I share her phone number for people?
Yeah, absolutely. We can put in the show notes in case they're driving so they don't wreck when they're trying to write it down. Okay.
And then they could just ask her any question under the that they have under the planet. But her phone number, her mobile phone number is 801-949-0962. Again, that's 801-949-0962. But she has a passion for what she's seeing in the chiropractic profession and how we're able to change these doctors' lives and get rid of the worry, the fear, the uncertainty, the doubt, and have clarity and consistency in what they're doing so they can plan their lives. Because when you don't know what, this month might have been good, but you're concerned that next month might not, it's hard to reinvest in yourself or make plans short-term or long-term, for sure, when you don't feel like you have any control over your income. Feels like a roller coaster. And we want to help doctors solve that. And, getting in touch with Susan as far as the best way to start moving in that direction is probably the best first step for anybody.
She's probably more passionate than most doctors, and she's not even a doctor. I remember seeing her 9 years ago. We're at the Doctored premiere, the movie premiere of Doctored, and she was there, and she was like just going gung ho, just nuts over it. It was awesome to see. I mean, she's a passionate person, a real advocate for you guys in your profession.
She's a blessing to our organization and our doctors for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Dr. Matt and Dr. Rob, thanks for joining us today, man. It's been really real pleasure and just fascinating to see that what's possible, right? And what's I think even for those of us that may not even be doctors, just the fact of hearing your perspective and what many people are missing because they have that limited scarcity mindset that keeps them from expanding and looking beyond what's in the general norm, right? And breaking out of that box and having something that's possible that hardly anybody ever does. So appreciate you guys being on today, and everybody else, especially if you resonate with this, make sure you go check it out. It's in the show notes, theclinicmasters.com, or you can reach out to Susan at the number Dr. Rob had just listed below. But go check that out, guys. If it's something that you want to be able to do, say, I need another income stream. I need something that gets me out of this practice. So I work on it so eventually at the point where I work because I want to, not because I have to. That's the goal, guys. So make it a wonderful and prosperous week. We'll see you later.
Visit us online at moneyripples.com for more resources to help you fix money leaks and get your money working harder for you now.